All right, because we are here live with Ryan Quinn, American Top Team coach. How you doing, brother?
How are you? Thanks for having me on, Dave.
Absolutely, man. Wow, what a week for MMA. We get fans. You're in it all the time. UFC 249 was incredible. But before we get all into that and on, I'd love to talk about you. I know you had a couple, like a week ago, had something big coming up, and I saw it on your Instagram, which is Mighty Quinn MMA. I would love for you to hit on it and bring more light to it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm starting. Well, I'll announce first. We're entering a national tournament. It's called Elite Amateur Fight League, and basically we want to do like uh, we want to turn amateur MMA into like the NCAA. We want a format where it could be like NCAA's, like where you think of the March Madness, Wrestling
Right.
Championships, the Rose Bowl, stuff like that. And that's what EAFL is going to do. And the major announcement, like this is two parts to this. So I'm going to be running Team Florida out of American Top Team.
Wow.
Yeah, really pumped about it. Super pumped about it. We're gonna do a majority of the team is the roster directly under me. We're gonna do some recruiting outside, but I really think that Florida has the best amateur MMA, and we get to show that on a national standpoint right now. I'm gonna have a lot of fun with that. It's always been my dream to be like a general manager or work in the front office of a major program,
Yeah.
and I get to play that right now. And I'm now going forward with that. This is a product that I truly believe in. It's really hard for an MMA promotion to get up off the ground, and they've been around and they're doing well. And it's a vision that I truly believe in, and I want to see take off because I want to see these amateur fighters get their recognition. I want it to be to the point where when they're entering the UFC cage and people are Joe Rogan's mentioning their resume, I want them to hear, oh, and he was on that national championship MMA team from EAFL. I
Right.
want it to be there, and I think it will be. I know it will be. So I was talking with Jesse Nunes, the promoter, and he brought me on. And right now I'm in the role of basically marketing and league expansion. So what I'm doing is I'm contacting major gyms from other states nationwide, and we're going to try and just add teams. Right now we have 12 teams. We're trying to make it a season 4, which is this upcoming one, at 14. But the ultimate goal is to get to 32. And I would not be surprised if we try to just keep loading with teams because it's really an awesome format.
Okay, real quick. When you said teams, is it only state by state, or can you have multiple teams in one state?
Okay, good question. I did leave that out. Right now, it is state by state. Like
Okay.
I'm Team Florida out of American Top Team, and then basically what happens is when the fighters go to the cage, they're allowed to wear the logo of their gym on the state, similar to like what does it down? Okay, well, one way is remember the Mighty Ducks 2 when they came out with the new
Of
jerseys? They were
course.
still Team USA. Yep, there you go. That's
Yeah.
what it is. Just
Okay.
like that. Yeah.
Okay.
But that's
One
it.
thing you hit on right away I love is Florida MMA.
Mhm.
With me, Daytona Beach, Florida's, where I call home, and I travel all over the place. The Panhandle with island fights. There's multiple stuff here in Orlando and down south. XFN, Combat Night. There's so many. There's tons of great promotions. Ton of great gyms as well. American Top Team. What's the secret sauce? Why is Florida? I think as well too. I've been raving about this for over 220 episodes, over years about it. Why do you think that Florida is number one in mixed martial arts, especially at the amateur level?
Well, there's a couple of big reasons. First, Florida, American Top Team has been around for a really long time. There's been a lot of other schools that were world renowned historically from Florida. I know MMA Masters down south is awesome. We got, what was Black Zillions now, Hard Knocks,
Right.
Henry Hoosh. There's a lot of great training grounds, and then those people go on to open up their own schools, and then it spreads throughout the state. I think that's mostly what it is. Also, you have down here especially, you have that Cuban influence of the wrestlers and the boxers coming over from Miami and coming to train, whether it be to train and compete themselves or just to train with MMA fighters. So
Right.
there's a lot of little things that go into that. That's why I think, plus Florida being such an attractive place to live with the weather, a lot of people come from other countries when they want to move to the United States. They want to stay in the warm weather, so they come down here.
Right. That's my number one is weather.
Yeah.
Jamie Driver, someone there at ATT, up north, and I know she's traveling back to Florida because she says I can jog 12 months of the year. I
Yeah,
can get outside and work on my body. Some people in Philly and Boston can't do that. It's hard to get to work. It's a big thing. It's a really big plus, I think.
I know personally. I had one. I fought a guy from Connecticut once, and I know they had like a week snowstorm up there. His gym was closed down for 10 days, and I'm like, that's totally advantaged me during that
Oh yeah,
training.
yeah,
So
absolutely. One thing you said earlier too, Moneyball's my top 6, 7 favorite movie ever, best sports movie ever. Before maybe you talk about that, we'll talk about Brad Pitt for an hour if you want to. But you said something about picking and being a GM, and almost every great team to me has not even a first pick, not even, and we'll talk about that, is almost like a style, technique. Phil Jackson in The Last Dance, we see he has the triangle. And when Jordan left, the triangle did, it moved around. It's always great to have talent. But what's your, the essence of your team? What's the core of it? The what you want to put out there, the core of your squad.
okay, that's actually a great question, and Moneyball is one of my favorite movies too. Actually, it wasn't until when Moneyball actually happened in 2002 that and that's when I was really like, I really loved the idea of being a general manager and getting the statistics, and that's when I got into it. But
Yeah.
uh, what would I like to have? Okay, I run my team like this. Uh, I don't ever want a fighter to lose what made him great. I'm predominantly a wrestler, but
Mhm.
I have something like 25 fighters. They're not all wrestlers. I'm not going to make them all wrestlers, but I'm
Right.
going to try and give what I can to make them to make them confident in what they're good at and in defending what I'm good at or what they're not good at. The only thing that I ask all my fighters to be great at is submission defense. I say you're not all going to be black belts in jiu-jitsu, but I want you black belts in submission defense. So
Right.
I make sure I have one practice a week that is strictly submission defense. I don't want my guys getting submitted. That being said, if I had one little aspect going into this tournament, I would like people that are good at grappling because sometimes I feel like you could really go far in amateur fighting if you have really good jujitsu. I mean, if
Yeah.
you're really good at anything, but for some reason to jujitsu, like you're just able to stay calm because you know you're taken down. Where like if you're a wrestler, you can't take somebody down right away. You get a little nervous. You're going to get hit. Something about like there's a calmness plus because there's actually a scoring system, which I think there's going to be finishes. I want you to be able to submit somebody at any point.
Right.
It's a little
Right.
easier to submit somebody at any point than it is to knock somebody out at any point.
For sure. Wow, that's really good. Before we get into the week, like I said, and moving forward, how have you been? I knew there's a new addition in the household in the last
Yeah.
couple of weeks. With the whole Corona pandemic, how has your life changed? Your family life changed? I know you're a big sports guy. Right now, there's no baseball. I miss coming home watching Saturday night. Saturday baseball. It's a weird time. The MMA's been away. We'll talk about that in a second. But how have you been? Your family and work.
Yeah. Well, okay. The gym's been very good to us. They're taking care of us during this time where we're not allowed in
It's
there,
awesome.
and yeah, that's awesome. I was working stuff out with clients where I was going to them for a while. That's still touch and go, but overall, like you said, like we've had a new addition to the family. My wife and I just brought our son in the world 3 weeks ago, Maddox Brendan, and I was focusing on that because for so many reasons. For obviously, I need to make sure that everyone's safe, but B, because somebody like me too, when I'm sitting around, I get anxiety, and I wanted to be able to focus on that as a positive in my life right now, and that's exactly what I was trying to. And on top of that, I was reading a lot, like reading a lot of books on like I said, with the general management, I read a lot of books on sports science and coaching,
Okay.
and I was doing that. We were actually doing a lot of online sessions with American Top Team on we're actually still, if anyone wants to go to American Top Team on Instagram Live, we have our sessions whenever we're scheduled. But so I was just trying to stay busy with that. And one other thing I'm doing is when I went back to school originally, I wanted to go back to be a strength and conditioning coach, and I had some time, and I actually found a certification where I can get certified with my associate's degree, and I actually started taking that course. So I'm staying busy, getting educated while all this is going on, and just little things with the baby and stuff like that, and
Right.
drinking a lot of coffee because they really need it with them.
Dude, you know me, man. I got four. I live on coffee. It's
Yeah.
all I do is drink coffee, iced coffee. Then it's a little, hot coffee at night to kind of keep it going. It's coffee all the time.
Yeah.
Okay. I said we'll really get into UFC 240. That's my last question. And Ryan, you've been on the show a couple of times, and I'm not that gotcha guy, but there's something I do want to ask, and if you can hit on it, awesome. If not, totally understand. I seen recently I talked to Dean Thomas probably 6 weeks ago. I think we were honestly the first podcast that he came on to say, yeah, I am leaving ATT. I'm hoping we're on good terms. I just kind of want to do my own thing and my own time schedule. Also, dude, I don't know if he's left or not. It's almost a question. I see a lot of Phil Daru doing his own thing. He has his own, area. I saw Edson Barbosa and Mike Davis there training all that. So if you can talk about it, Dean Thomas and Phil Daru, is Phil still there? Is he not? And just how the coaching staff is now.
Yeah, Phil is still there. And Phil, even when he opens his own facility, he's still going to be doing the strength and conditioning for the fighters over there. And that's something that I plan on utilizing myself. Oh, sorry. Pepsi's giving me some gas. But what do you call it? That's something that I plan on utilizing myself. And so that's good. Dean's he's doing his own thing now. I have a hard time seeing that Dean's not going to be in the corner of some of our fighters in the future. Dean's he's emotionally invested as I am, and I know I always refer to Dean as he's run some of my camps as a fighter, but when I became coaching, he became my coaching coach. I always refer to Dean as he's my coaching coach, and that has not changed. I still run things by him at all times, and I'm probably going to call him later today about some stuff. He's everyone's on good terms. Everything is he wants to do his own thing, and that's what he's doing. But like I said, we're all in touch. Like, we still need advice from Dean. We're going to get it.
Right. No, that's awesome. He answers my call every time. He always texts back. He's just one of those great guys.
He answers my call every time, the punk.
I mean, he doesn't.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into it. What a great show. A couple of nights ago, Saturday, UFC 249. There was a lot of ATT blood down there. Rosa, Olenek, Greg Hardy. We can start on that, or we can kind of start where you want to. But what jumped at you? What was a sleeper or a sleeper fight that people aren't talking about? It's been 48 hours now, and there's almost you hear nothing but Gaethje. That's kind of what we've been hearing. I do want to talk about Gaethje as well, but what else happened on the show that really jumped at you?
Okay, well, I want to start off by saying how proud I am of the UFC and MMA as well. I never fought in UFC, but everyone knows everybody. With everything going on in the world and making the aggressive push to be, if the UFC is good for anything, they're trailblazers. They brought this sport back from the dead, and they just made things happen, And you know what? They really, a lot of people gave them crap for doing this, but I feel like for you to hate on that, then you're a negative person. You should be rooting for them for someone going back to normal. And
100%.
And they did, and everything. I wish I could say everything went off without a hitch, but you know what? The whole thing, it turned out Jacare tested positive. That was going to happen at some sport somewhere along the line. The UFC, they were first, but you know what? The UFC was first to handle it. They were the first to handle it correctly. So as a mixed martial artist, I'm super proud of my sport right now. We got another one on Wednesday that's going off, and then another one the next Saturday, and I'm super pumped about it.
And real quick, Ryan, if I can interrupt, one thing you said about Jacare that I would love to bring up is I don't think of myself as a media member. I just don't. I love talking about it. I talk to fighters every single day and podcasts, but I don't think I'm a media member. But a lot of media members were so negative especially when the Jacare tested positive. And I came the exact opposite. And I love what Dana White said as well. He goes, that means it's working. What we're doing, the tests were working. There's people that have it all over the world right now that doesn't know or doesn't think it, or who's at Target or Lowe's or at Publix right now. The UFC, I thought, I talked to people there on the boots on the ground right there in Jacksonville. They said they have been phenomenal about where you go, testing all the time, different times of the day. I think they've been just A++, like incredible work by the UFC.
Yeah, and they were, and which a lot of outside people don't know is the cutting weight and the availability. You want to be available to the gym when you feel like it. There's no I'm gonna go at 2:00. Like you're not there anymore when you want to cut that way. You want to go when you feel like it. And for them to be able to divide the fighters up, to be given that their comfortable amount of time to go cut weight and stuff like that.
Yeah,
great job, great job. And like you said, it means it's working. It means it's working. I don't have anything bad to say about it. I don't. I hope that people are coming around.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, yeah, there's a show Wednesday. There's a show on Saturday. Both great shows. A
Yeah.
ton of talent from American Top Team there as well. So okay, let's get into it. Greg Hardy winning another win in the heavyweight division. American Top Team just keeps on moving up those rankings. If you wanted to start there, and we'll just bounce over the card.
Okay. Yeah. We'll start with Rosa. You know, he showed a lot of heart on his return. I'm super happy for the
Right.
guy. And actually, I tweeted him. I want to make a Rosa. One of the things I've been watching with my wife when we've been home is a lot of the cooking channel stuff. And I don't know why Charles Rosa is not on Chopped yet. I don't know that he's the perfect. He needs to go on there. He's just,
Yeah.
like UFC fighter. He's got a perfect theme. Like if anyone else going the Ultimate Fighter, this guy needs to be on Chopped. So I'm personally starting a movement for that. But let Greg. He's going to be a force to be reckoned with. You know, he's like when I watch Greg train, he doesn't realize how athletic he is almost because he's a freak athlete for obvious reasons at heavyweight, and he's starting to learn how to allow that athleticism to let him fight, and through that he's going to learn how to fight even more, and he's really going to show. He's really going to turn heads, you know. And plus, you know, for the most part, the top 10 in the UFC heavyweight division is pretty open. There's no reason why he won't be there as soon as December. He's really killing it. And then my man Alexi, I'm so happy for Alexi, man. And just the world's upside down when Alexi Olenek wins a fight with his boxing.
That's so funny. Oh
yeah. So like I just damn. He's like oh man, social distancing. I'm not going to hurt around with this guy. Let me beat him up. And I'm just super happy for him. The guy is just he's a machine, and he's like the sweetest person you'll ever meet in your life. He's like a big, like just teddy bear, and he's super strong. And I'm so happy for him with a big win.
yeah. Oh, huge win. Verdum's a bona fide Hall of Famer. Huge wins, and I know he was coming off. I almost felt like the UFC loves sometimes to set things up maybe a certain way. And I thought they really wanted Verdun to get a little bit of momentum because with the UFCs, with DC kind of maybe one fight and gone, Stipe, you're not sure of what's happening. And then you got Francis Ngannou, who no one should call the man out. Right?
Yeah.
You can't call that man out. You try to stay on the opposite side of the bracket. That's me.
Like Alexi's like the boogeyman of the heavyweight division because he's got just this crazy ability to choke you or wrench your neck. He's super strong, and he's got a rock head where he's not going to go down. So he's just it's crazy, man. It's crazy. I like the guy's got almost 70 fights, and I don't see him stopping anytime soon. I know he's been aware that he's a little bit older, his body, but I see him train. He keeps himself healthy, and
Right.
he knows his limits. So who
Right.
knows the limit?
The next fight was Calvin getting a vicious knockout with that elbow in the second round versus Jeremy Stevens. He is an absolute problem at 145. I see Calvin. The 145 is probably, to me, the most underrated division in the UFC. Like, unbelievable talent.
Yeah, I agree with you with that. It's gotten overshadowed because of the passing of the torch from Aldo to McGregor and Ortega's there but who's the champion right now? Actually, I can't even think of who's the champion.
Volkanovski.
Yes, that's right.
Max Holloway, the beat. Yeah.
Yeah. So I agree with you with that. Actually, now Edson's dropping down to 145. I kind of think the winner of Edson's fight is going to fight Qatar next, and we'll see who's going to fight in the top 10. That's my prediction, but we'll see.
Barbosa versus Qatar. Come on, please.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's insane. Moving up was Francis. 22nd knockout. Do you think he's back on track? Do you think he's next? If you have a lot of heavyweights there at ATT. Is a guy stay away, let him do his own thing, and then maybe see what happens?
Man, I don't know. Like he won in 20 seconds, but really Nagano, right?
Yeah.
It's like he won in 20 seconds, but what did you see? Like I don't want to poo-poo on it, but it's not like he showed anything really slick with the boxing. He caught Biggie Boy, and so I think that Nagano's going to get a push regardless because he's still up there. But I would like to see a little more. That's just me. I don't even like when people say that, but I think he's got to show a little more because just it didn't really show anything flashy. If it was like some sick spinning back fist or something, then it'd be like, oh, but he just kind of came forward like he just like a brawl, and
Right.
I'd want to see a little more.
That's funny you say that. He is a split down the middle guy. 50% of the world thinks he's the greatest heavyweight in the history of the sport, and the other 50 is like, that performance wasn't impressive. That performance was kind of like, what happened really? Like he didn't really. He's not looking like he's progressing in his
Yeah,
style, in his technique in boxing. So yeah, but and then the other side of it, he's just so strong and
yeah,
so aggressive and so athletic. It's like, what do you do? Like, what do you
yeah.
do to stop that?
Mhm.
Crazy. Okay, then we go to Cejudo and Cruz. I was so in love with this fight going into it. Both fighters, I hate to say this, maybe both are underrated in a weird way. Both just
Mhm.
top end all timers. It's things that it's kind of being overshadowed by, was it an early stoppage? So I guess we'll start there, and then we'll start with what you thought Cejudo did afterwards, and then what's the future for that division.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I think Cejudo is going to come back. I think that when
Yeah,
he's been competing his whole life, and you want a little break, but then you realize you want to keep competing. Plus, he's young and healthy. I think he's going to come back. But I go back and forth on if it was an early stoppage or not, because I know there was 2 seconds left, but the ref, you can't fault the ref for stopping with just 2 seconds left. There was 11 unanswered strikes. But that being said, Dominic was pushing up like this. Now, when you're pushing up like this, to me, and I think this is something that needs to be implemented to the referee's rulebook. When you're pushing up like this, yeah, you're not defending, but you're trying to improve position, which in itself is
right.
so. It wasn't like he was on his way down; he was on his way up. And I don't know how aware of the clock Keith Peterson was. I would have let it go, but I'm not a ref. So, but I just
Right.
think that if you're pushing up, especially when your arms are fully extended and they're not even, buckling, I think that you could allow him to get cracked down to a knee or something.
I loved it. I love exactly what you said. I agree 100% with the push-up thing. Not a lot of people are mentioning that point, so I love that you nailed that one.
Hmm.
The one thing that I give on the ref side, and I've always kind of been this way, if my child does something he should not do at 2 p.m. or at 8:30, it's the same punishment. My wife and I were like, nope, that's what's going to happen. Same, and seems like they don't do that in other sports. In basketball, sometimes there's in basketball the stop the whistle. You won't call the foul on the last shot. If it's a
Yeah,
foul, it's a foul. If you
yeah,
think it's supposed to be stopped, it's supposed to be stopped. And I don't mind with 2 seconds left. I kind of almost even respect it even more. He thinks it was
hmm,
enough. He thinks he didn't want Dom to get hit anymore. I don't know if you saw today, he kind of went after him. Dom's kind of been a little aggressive, saying that he thought it was an early stoppage. The ref today goes, Dom, I was trying to stop you having CTE. Like, I thought I was doing the right thing. So I was like,
yeah,
wow. Like, they're going back and forth, which um, I hate seeing. It's a really hard job. I would hate to see, if I do a bad show, a podcast, someone come on and be like, "Oh, you should say these words more often," and not. And if you don't coach, if your fighter loses it, maybe you should coach this way. Not. It's like, guys, if you don't see everything that we're doing behind the scenes, it's really hard to hit on a guy. But it was tough. It was close. It really was.
it was close, and I can see the frustration on Dom's part. Dom has criticized fighters in the past for going after referees. So, and on top of that, like, I mean, I've had Keith Peterson on several occasions
Right.
at
Right.
multiple levels too, at Bellator, regional shows, and I never had any issues with him. I how do I, when you say what Dom's saying, you're really going after a man's reputation, and like
Right.
if Keith doesn't protect himself, then every fighter is going to bring this up.
Right.
He really needs to defend himself. Um, oh, I had another point too about the stoppage part, which we'll go back to. But real quick, just let's say like it was close, and let's say Keith let the 2 seconds go, and they went back to the corner. He
Mhm.
could have still, if he noticed that Dom was shaky, he could have waved it, or he could have said, "Dom, you get in trouble again. I'm stopping early." He could have
Right.
done that to defend Dom.
Right.
But anyway, back to what we were saying with everything that's going on. Like, yeah, uh, you can't let a fighter do that. And I'll tell you what, like it's going to be to a point where the UFC is going to have to step in for Dom, and the commission is going to have to step in for Keith, and just take this out of their hands, because they can't be jawing back and forth. It's
Right.
going to be a mad look for the rest versus the fighters.
100% agree, Ryan. You're killing it. Absolutely. And if he doesn't stop back for the rest of his career, and hey, if you think the ref is doing a bad job, and then say that, hey, that was a horrible stoppage. Keith, that was really bad. Do your job better. Okay. And, respect it.
Yeah,
That's your opinion. But when you really crack in on, especially alcohol and cigarettes, like
yeah.
the alcohol is really, really deep. And it's like,
Mhm.
You got to be 100% right. And then if you are, then I understand where he's coming from. But if it's a little off, it's like, shoot, like that's a big no. So
Yeah.
it's a weird thing. That's actually, we haven't really talked about it. I haven't really played this out yet, so I'm happy we are.
Mhm.
But it's tough. That's tough. Okay, let's get into it. Justin Gaethje, it was his night. It's his week now. I think the fallout is going to be absolutely tremendous for Gaethje. It's his world. Khabib, Connor, it's up to him. It seems like he does want the belt. How do you think of his performance first off?
And I think that he was almost like the best way to talk about that performance was less is more. Like he usually comes like a bull at it come in a china shop. He was picking his shots, making every one of them count, staying relaxed, and he just lit them up. Like it was crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't see that fight going that way. Not at all. Not at all.
Wow.
Especially the leg kicks. Like I didn't see that fight going that way.
I picked Gaethje winning the fight before it came out. I actually posted it on Facebook. Got a
Mhm.
lot of feedback back. Uh, the thing I bring up, and I talked to my buddy about it, and we really went deep into it. I think as we are men, we have families, we have emotions, we have good days, we have bad days. And for Tony Ferguson to be on this ride for 6 weeks, is he fighting Khabib? Is he not? Is Khabib flying back from Russia? Is he not? We're going to move the date to this date, and now we're going to move it to this date again. Like I'm going to cut the weight too again, and then come back. I just think out of MMA, we always say so many times it's 80%, 90% mental, 20% physical, and all that stuff. I think Ferguson's mind, the roller coaster he has been on for 6 weeks. I love Gaethje. Gaethje kind of coming in an underdog, a shock the world thing. The talent are really close, on an even playing field. We'll see what happens if they fight again. I love Gaethje's where his head was at. That was my take from the beginning.
That's actually a great point that I never thought of. It is mentally draining because, like, if you're Gaethje, if the fight's happening, you're fighting Tony Ferguson. If you're Tony
Right.
Ferguson, the fight may happen. You might fight 3 or 4 different people. So, like you said, the cutting the weight and everything like that, and plus the layoff and stuff. So, yeah, that's a good point. The mental drainage probably played a big part in that, especially not to put Tony on the spot, but he's had his issues in the past where anxiety and stuff like that. But
Right.
I'm sure that that definitely did play a big part.
Right. Like I said, I talk to fighters every single day, and I usually talk more off air than on air. And it's
Mhm.
you know this more than anything, right? I've been a fighter yourself, 9-time Bellator. It's like if you had a great camp, if you had a great family session, and if you had a good trip, and you had a really good meal on Thursday before you come away, all that comes in so much. It's not just you closing the cage and it's 15 minutes of throwing a fist. There's so much that comes into it, and it's such a mental game of the MMA. We'll hit on it real quick. I really love the beginning. I would love for you to kind of end there. We'll bookend this thing. So it's going to be the Elite Amateur Fight League.
Yes, yeah,
And okay, when is the date? Are they going to try to really come back through the pandemic on the other side of this?
yeah. We're trying hard to figure that out. It was supposed to be June. Obviously, that's
Right.
not going to happen. The best case scenario looks like October.
Okay.
We might end up having to lay it off until January. We'll see what happens though. I was a little upset because I felt like I had an ironclad lineup going into this thing, and now I'm already getting the calls, coach. All this time, I think I'm just going to turn pro. And for me as an
Oh,
amateur coach, that's what's more important is that
yeah.
these guys are ready for their pro careers. So, coaching a national championship team, that's for me. I'd rather these guys go on and win world titles at the professional level. So and ladies. So there's going to be stuff, but I'm not the only one going through that. The whole world is going through crazy stuff right now, and these
Right.
other teams that are putting teams, they're going through that stuff too. If anything, I have more of a selection because I'm at one of the biggest gyms in the world, so I'm not worried about that. So I'm just trying to use this time now to do stuff like this to get the word out about the Elite Amateur Fight League and just keep going forward with that. And actually, I forgot to mention something. The league right now is looking for sponsors and advertisements for their events for the next season. They are also they have a WeFunder. We're looking for investors. It's a publicly owned league. So anyone who's willing to invest, please check it out. Elite Amateur Fight League. And I will post the WeFunder on my Instagram account later this evening. Or actually, you know what? This is going on. I will post it on tomorrow, Tuesday, so people can check it out. Okay. And all right, thank you for letting me put that in there.
Yeah, absolutely, brother. Send the link to me wherever it is, and when I put the podcast out on all platforms, I'll attach the link to it so people can just go right to it, get on it. Man, I can't wait, dude. Very excited. Always love having you on, Ryan. We'll definitely, like I said, when baseball comes back and the Yankees take over the AL East, we'll get you back on the show. Bills and Jets.
It might not be the AL East now. Now they're talking about these spring training divisions, but whatever. I don't care as long as there's baseball. Actually, I saw today that now because they're going to do that now, the National League's going to go forward with the DH this season. But we'll see. We'll see.
That is the dumbest unrule in of all sports. How can one? Imagine if the East Conference of the NBA can shoot threes and the West couldn't. Like, come on, what are we doing here, guys? Ask me one thing.
I tell you what, even when I was younger, I used to like it because I liked the difference in, you see this in the National League, you see this in the AL. But then when I found out that college doesn't even bat the pitcher anymore, I'm like, there's really no reason for that. We got to move on. Like, and it's I remember when the first my father and I went to go. I know you didn't want to talk baseball here, but my father and I in the first interleague play season '97, my father and I saw the Mets and the Orioles, and we went to the game. And I'm laughing because the Mets designated hitter was batting ninth. It's like, what are you doing? It's supposed to be like, it's like this is why they're at a disadvantage because they don't know how to use it, And plus, like, if you're a National League team, like you see, like let's say you're in a tight game, but your pitcher's batting a gem, you might have to take him out in the fourth inning because you need to get a pinch hitter in there. So, I mean, I credit the National League; it's a harder game to manage because of it. But yeah, it's time to go with the DH.
I'm going to close the show on this, and I think you'll respect it. When I growing up too, man, I love DHs, like guys like Jay Buhner, Andy Carnival, Cecil Fielder. Like, these were my favorite guys. So come on, baseball, give me the DH. I want more runs, more home runs. Chicks love long ball. Chicks love it.
Would you rather see 2 home runs a game or 8 strikeouts from it's like that's what it comes down to.
Right, man. Thank you so much. You can come on anytime you have anything to say. When the league gets going, have them on. Even if you want your fighters to come on to promote this or that, always welcome on the show, brother.
For sure. Love it. Thank you so much, man. Thanks for everything you do for us.
Thank you, brother. Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.